You guys heard the last show I did with my man Ciph, the producer of my intro song for the other shows. Well, I'm back here again. We're doing another top five, our own personal top five list of overrated albums this time. Not artists, but albums in hip-hop. We're not talking Celine Dion. We're not talking Michael Jackson. We're not talking Bruce Springsteen. We're talking main stage hip-hop performers. Backed by popular demand. Alright, so like I said, I'm back here with my man Ciph, and we are going to go through our top five overrated, yes.
Overrated albums, hip-hop albums.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Like Christian Laettner's of hip-hop, basically. God, I miss good basketball. Random thought, I actually spent like
Olympic team, dude?
I think you after that shot.
Man, you were that good, dude, when you played on Duke.
Who's the first pick? Me. Where did born in?
Did Bobby Hurley make the Olympic team too?
No, he should have.
Yeah.
Was he the one in after that pass? Was that Grant Hill?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. Bobby Hurley, he was like just a little white guy to run around.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just said it like that.
Racist.
It reminded me of like a video game. He's running around like a small fast guy.
And that's why I'm voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I think, actually, it's funny. I think Shaq should have been on that team.
Probably.
Or, I mean, I know he was like a rookie, but I mean, out of all the rookies, why that guy?
Christian Laettner got the nod, but not him.
Yeah, or, I mean, real talk, if we're going to talk about people who really should have been on that team, aside from Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins.
What about Larry Bird and Michael Jordan doing those damn McDonald's commercials back in the day?
All right, off the scoreboard, off the city.
Larry Bird's like, yeah. Those are days, man.
We know Jordan couldn't shoot like that. Bird sure could. But yeah, actually, I spent like an hour plus downloading old football games.
Oh, yeah?
From like the 92 Cowboys and Niners NFC Championship, Raiders and Titans AFC Championship. Yeah, I'm missing good football. Did you see the game last night? Cardinals and Seahawks?
No, I didn't watch that game.
6-6 overtime tie.
What about the Raiders game? Watch that?
Yes, I sure did. Had a couple beers.
5-2.
I'm happy about that. You happy about that?
Oh, yeah.
We need to stop winning like in the last minute. Like we need to really put people away.
They make it interesting. They jump off to a decent lead. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I get in the car, drive over, and then I'm like, second half and whatever. They're now the score is way closer than it should be. I'm like, what the?
Step it up. Step it up.
But nonetheless, we got the W. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
Good games, good game.
I'm happy with that.
I was feeling it.
All right, enough talk about football and basketball.
Let's talk about whack MCs.
Yes, sir. Whack albums. You went first last time, so I'm going to go first this time.
All right, man.
All right, this album came out in 2008. I don't want to say the artist just yet, but it had a lot of auto-tune on it. And I think it had a couple of singles. Let me look real quick. It had 4 singles, and I think a couple of videos. And it was an okay album. In all honesty, I think people loved it. I know it sold.
We sure as hell didn't compare any damn notes. That's for sure.
No, we sure didn't.
You got the damn World Wide Web in front of your face. I'm looking at a piece of paper, dude.
I actually have porn in front of me. I'm lying.
Oh, there you go.
You just can't see.
I knew it.
So Jenna Jameson. So this album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard in 200, selling 450,000 copies in its first week. By 2013, so this was 5 years later, it had only sold 1.7 million copies in the U.S., which is kind of funny because you think if you go almost gold in the first week, and by 5 years later you've only gone 700,000 more albums, that tells you it's probably not very good.
Well, it didn't stand the test of time, clearly.
Definitely did not. Even though those 3 or 4, or actually 4 songs, like, I'm amazing.
You have 400
I'm
in the first week.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, yeah, but at this rate, we'll fucking sell fucking 5 million albums in 3 months.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, nah.
The 4 singles, I'm going to give you a hint. Amazing, which I just started singing, which you probably don't know.
Amazing. No.
You got my love locked down. All right. How could you be so heartless?
Wait, I remember that shit.
You don't know?
Who sings it, though?
You remember the original, right? Or do you remember that song?
Nah, man.
All right, and then the 4th one was "How Could You Be So Paranoid," and Rihanna was in the
everything
in the
has
video.
to start out with "How Can You Be?"
That's interesting.
Like.
That's funny. Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Right.
It was Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreak, and it was not very good.
I didn't realize that was that mainstream though.
Yeah, it was.
For some reason, I thought that one kind of slid underneath the radar a little bit.
Maybe, but I mean, considering, if you want to look
his
at
Colors Dropout, and what was the other one that he did?
God, this was the first one after that.
That was kind of like when he kind of like deviated a little bit of the whole 808s and Heartbreak.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, okay, he's throwing an homage to like the 808 and like going ahead maybe using some different type of producing techniques.
Yeah.
Clearly that wasn't the case, obviously. But I remember not really hearing much about this album.
I
remember seeing the cover and it was really minimal and it was like, okay, this looks like someone. It looks like a kind of a throwback to when you used to make make CDs and just underground shit, 4-track
little
shit.
Heart,
Yeah, like 4-track shit, dude. Yeah, man. But like, okay, that might be the one. Yeah. Because I know the other was a Twisted Dark Fantasy. That was a couple
amazing.
Years later. Yeah, a couple years later, I like that album, dude. I remember hearing a couple of those songs, which kind of just blew my mind a little bit. I was kind of baked. I remember at the time when I listened to that fucking song. This one song for the first time, that one when they had like kind of like that. Whatever.
On 808s,
the Twisted Dark Fantasy. That shit.
Yeah, that's an amazing album.
Yeah, that was kind of tight, but
yeah, so he has some features on here. I mean, like I said, Rihanna was in a video, but I don't think she was actually on the album itself. He has Kid Cudi on Welcome to Heartbreak, which is like the second track on there. Young Jeezy, who's a dude I cannot stand. Mr. Hudson on Paranoid, and Lil Wayne in See You in My Nightmares, and that's it. Nothing. Aside from those 4 singles, which is cool to have 4 singles, you know what I mean? But out of 12 songs, that's a third of your album that's pretty good, and then the rest of it is just like kind of let people kind of figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it didn't really ring well for me. I tried to listen to it, and then you hit a certain point in an album when you try to listen to it, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
It happened every time.
I've happened. Honestly, I've had that happen a lot of times. I think I've had more disappointing albums than ones that I purchased from artists that I was digging at the time. And I think this list is kind of like an homage, or kind of like at least a few of the albums that I remember, with the exception again of one that I didn't really have any fucking interest in whatsoever to begin with. But
well, yeah, tell me.
But yeah, so like I guess moving into it, man. I remember I was obviously much like a lot of other people, so very much into the Wu-Tang Clan and shit like that, dude. Back from talking Old Dirty Bastard and shit. Raekwon's album, Ghostface's album, all that shit, and when they really were at the height of everything going on, that was kind of like everything was fire. Like every single album wasn't necessarily a solo project, even though you had one artist that was mentioned on the album, but everything was kind of like
another album.
Cuts.
Yeah,
posse cuts. It's like who's in the studio, who's gonna do? RZA got a dope beat. We're gonna go ahead and fucking jump on this shit and just really make it hard as fuck. Now, when they Wu-Tang Forever, that's the album really that I was like, dude, this shit's overrated, man, because it was long. It was long, dude.
Double album, yeah, you're right.
It was long. It was only 4 years really where they hadn't. Came out in '97 if I'm not mistaken. Dude. So you had the '93, you had 36 Chambers, right?
Amazing.
And then they had all those dope ass solo artist albums, which in fact were they could be classified as Wu-Tang albums. Really, all those songs are kind of interchangeable. You could have took a song from say Ghostface's album, Iron Man, and put it on to Raekwon's album, and there wouldn't be any kind of like you wouldn't be looking at it and be like, hey, this song don't belong.
Yeah.
Because they were all like kind of just bangers, really fucking high energy type shit. So when the group album kind of came together, I think the Wu-Tang Forever, it didn't have that same energy, man. It seemed like everyone kind of had become their own person solo.
That's a good point.
And a little bit separated from the whole Wu-Tang thing. Whereas 36 Chambers was everyone collectively together. No one really knew who these dudes were. They kind of made a name for themselves as solo artists. And then the Wu-Tang Forever kind of sounded forced after them having at the height of their success. It's like, shit, now's the time we got to make a fucking album. But everyone's on tour over here, on tour over here. You had people everywhere, kind of dispersed and all over the place.
Yeah.
They'd be doing solo shows. It wouldn't be like they would all be the same place.
Right.
So like you have now this one album, and I recall them moving to California, renting a house in order to make this album happen because everyone was busy with their own shit. It's like Redman and Meth had Meth had this shit with Redman. Ghostface would be on his own shit. Raekwon would be on their own shit. They kind of would be partying up.
Right.
The other cats, who the fuck knows? RZA's on his own shit. ODB, whatever. He was out here doing his thing. Yeah, exactly. But everyone was like their own individual. It's like they had their own things going on. It's not like you're all hanging out and shit. And like you have that band kind of feel. So the album, is so. I mean, it's very tough for that to ever live up to the expectations you might have had, given like how much I was a Wu-Tang fan. So when it did come out and people thought it was dope, I was like, nah, it's not dope to me, man. It wasn't where I thought it could be. So I felt that album was overrated for that reason, just because it didn't really have that feel.
That was solid, man. Like the way you broke that down, I was like, I ain't got nothing to contribute because you nailed it.
Yeah,
you absolutely nailed it. Yeah, they were definitely all kind of doing their own thing for a while. Matter of fact, I was thinking when I was taking a shower before I came here, I was thinking Method Man's solo album. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it.
I didn't include it in this.
I was gonna throw that in, but I was like, nah, because it followed like ODB's album was next. I like that album. Then Raekwon's, and then Ghostface. Like all those albums were dope. It was like, oh shit, and we all couldn't wait for the next album to come out because everything was just fucking fire, dude. They had like the High School High shit. They had like every single track. Yeah. Every single track that they put out, any kind of solo was like it sounded like a song that would be on Raekwon's album or Ghostface's album. And it was just fire, dude. It was like, fuck yeah. The beat was banging. The beat was banging. The lyrics were just on point, and it's like, who is on this shit? That's you, God. Oh, this one, that's Inspector Deck. And like you'd be like, damn, when's the Inspector Deck's album gonna come out? That's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope. But that was like kind of the heightened of it. And I think Wu-Tang Forever is kind of when I was like, dude, this is not as dope as it should. Like, it's not as dope as it could be. And again, they rented a house out in California, out here. Yeah. You know, in order to really make this album happen.
Like in Beverly Hills or LA somewhere.
But they had to do it that way, otherwise it wouldn't have got done.
Too busy.
The technology didn't exist for them to really kind of like, maybe it did. I don't know. Didn't for us. That's for shit, sure. But nope. But they had to. Yeah, they all had to get to one place one time. Like, all right, let's get this fucking shit done. And everyone's probably taking calls from different kind of booking things, different things probably got going on. And it's just like, all right, let me write a quick, 16 bars, and so it kind of sounded mailed in a little bit.
I got you. I totally agree with that. It's just. Wow, yeah, because I remember ODB did that track with the Licks, Hip Hop Drunkies, which to me was like so far left from where 36 Chambers was. I was like, like it was a cool song.
It just sounded like a money grab a little bit. Yeah, it sounded like a money grab. Yes. It didn't have the rawness. So you're like, nah, dude, this ain't ODB. This ain't the dude walking down Project Halls, with a fucking 40 in a brown bag, spitting freestyles. This ain't that guy. This is a guy that's like, hey, man. I like to ring too. Let's fucking throw a track together real quick. We can knock it out in 2 hours.
But that was like the evolution of music and artists, right? Like you listen to Common when he first came out in the 80s, and then you listen to Universal Mind Control. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, right.
Who did this techno album?
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Yeah. Where are you getting your weed from?
Who sprinkled this shit with
You need to stop smoking that shit, man. That's when he was banging Erykah Badu or whatever, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And he probably was like, hey, I'm just enjoying life. You leave me alone.
I can't blame him for doing that.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No, shouldn't have to do some strange shit.
Love of my life. That was a cool song. Speaking of cool songs, this is my number 2. This album had one of the coolest songs of 1999. Matter of fact, I'm gonna sing the first 2 words, and I know you're gonna know the album already. Hot shit.
Oh shit! Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Cornell Haynes Jr., aka Nelly, with Country Grammar.
Oh man!
This album had Country Grammar as a single. It had Ride With Me. It had EI, and that was the only songs I think that anyone ever liked.
Right.
You have 3 songs out of 17 tracks, including 2 an outro and an intro. I don't think there are any interludes, so you have 3 songs out of 15 that really stand out. Lil Wayne's on here, Murphy Lee. What's so crazy? Lil Wayne, this is 99, dog. Who else? Subject to Entertainer did the intro and the outro. Saint Lunatics are on here, obviously. Oh, there is one interlude. City Spud, never heard of him. Like I said, Wayne's on here. The Teamsters, never heard of them. Overall, this album, I gotta be honest, I've never even listened to it. I just know that there's 3 songs.
You just know I guess it's overrated.
Man. Yeah,
that's what I know.
I gotta be honest. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I heard every track. But it doesn't have that appeal to me that I would want to listen to every track.
Hell no.
When I think of an album, I think of a concept, and I will always refer to an album concept like. AC Alone's Book of Human Language.
Sure. Let's hear it,
You got the intro, you got the guidelines, you got the this, you got the Jabberwock, you got the all. Dude, I mean, that album was amazing, and you have songs that end with the beginning of the next song.
Sure.
And so it reminded me, the only thing I've ever heard of since then, there have been 3 albums that I've heard since then that remind me of a concept like that. Those albums are... it was a Tech 9 one, the 2006 one, Ever Ready the Religion. It was Pharoah Monch's Desire.
Yeah.
and it was also Kanye West, My Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Fantasy. Those are three artists who are very good at what they do, even if there isn't a heartbreak on here. But I think when it comes to hip hop and like creativity and all that kind of stuff, those guys can kind of fit that. Where, a lot of hip hop albums, like I love 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. I love the album because it was just dope. There's a lot of banger tracks on there, and you can just play every single track, and it's just like, even, there are a bunch of club hits, but when it comes to like an album concept, that album's not a very good album in terms of concept. You're like, how do these all fit together, and what are they telling me, right? So with Nelly's Country Grammar, I know it's like, how can you rate something you've never heard? Because I've had no desire to ever listen to it.
Right.
Because I know there's only 3 singles, and no one's ever talked about anything else.
And so I guess is an overrated album. Is a single kind of like constitute like the amount of singles? Does that constitute what a successful album is?
It almost did.
Because here's why I asked, man.
Because I almost had Vanilla Ice on here, and I was like, I'm going to get pencil slapped.
Yeah, but I guess, dude, because you mentioned Get Rich or Die Trying, man, and I was going to like bring that shit up as an overrated album, man.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
really.
Well, that makes sense because
and the reason is, it's not like I have a compelling argument against it. It's more just like, hey, man, like I know there were singles in there. Fuck yeah. There was definitely singles in there.
God.
I think it still goes back to when I was, again, very much a hip hop, like very much involved in hip hop, like kind of I guess a harsh critic, you could say, or I wasn't like a hater. I was just like, I knew what I liked, and I guess I was very much in tune with that. And when people try to tell me, hey, this is dope, dude, check this out, this is 50 Cent, he's awesome, he's dope, check this song out, check this song out, check this song out. And people would try to qualify it or make or use in their argument the amount of albums it sold, or because it's on the radio, or because it's playing in the club. I'm like, that's cool, man. I mean, it wasn't like I hated 50 Cent, or it's just like it wasn't like dope to me. It wasn't like it didn't fall in that. Like again, I'm going back to like old Wu-Tang stuff, AC Alone, and just where people were really pushing the envelope creatively. Whereas this was kind of just like, hey, man, we're just making songs. We're making like some bangers and stuff. Like you said, there's really no continuity in the album Get Rich or Die Trying. But it really was his effort to get Rich or Die Trying by putting a whole bunch of fucking successful songs together. So,
Waiting.
I mean, it's not a shitty album, because I can't say it's a shitty album, because it did fucking very well.
13 mil.
And a lot of people loved the shit out of it. But it was overrated in the sense that it wasn't like, I didn't think it was like
good album,
as dope as 13 million purchases would imply, based upon just like the commercial success it's had. Not to say that it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's just like, hey, this was kind of like one of those albums, dude. And again, I had no skin in the game with 50 Cent, and this is the one artist on my list that I really didn't care about. It was just like the album itself, to me, was like kind of overrated in what everyone's singing its high praise, especially back then.
I remember people saying he was going to be the new Tupac.
Oh yeah, people were really trying to. People were really trying to sell him high, man. And I remember being in an office environment and talking to people like, "Oh, dude, you get that new 50 Cent?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I didn't get that new 50 Cent."
Yeah,
no, hell no, I didn't get that new 50 Cent. Why would I get it?
Right.
What for? I just turned the radio on. I could hear every fucking song. Like, it's not like I need to buy that album.
Right.
And I don't even give a shit to listen to the song. And it wasn't like a hater thing. It's just like that wasn't what I was about. I wasn't about 50 Cent. I was about some other shit. So again, that overrated album. I mean, by no means does it suck. Obviously, it's just like. So, it's funny you dropped that.
What a segue,
I had to segue into it.
Told y'all we don't check our list before we get together.
I had to segue into it. I was like, oh shit, oddly enough, I'm sitting here doing some research on my shit, and he drops the damn album, and I'm like, oh fuck, better now than anytime. What am I gonna do? Wait to drop it 20 minutes later?
Oh, by the way, remember?
What do you say, 50 Cent?
There's a podcast I listen to about every week because I'm writing papers and I got to listen to something while I'm writing papers. And The Brilliant Idiots. You ever heard of them? I love these guys. Andrew Schultz and Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne the God is on the Breakfast Club 105.1 over in New York. And he's the one, Brilliant Idiots. They're on SoundCloud just like I am.
Okay.
And, you can listen to them for free just like you listen to mine for free. Yeah. Or, you make a subscription and you can download their shit. Anyway, they were talking recently about, maybe a few months back, about how Michael Jackson's actually, it was Andrew Schultz who said this. I think he said it on the Vlad TV podcast, which is another podcast I listen to. Sure. I love hip hop. So anyway, Vlad and Andrew Schultz are talking about Michael Jackson and his albums. And Andrew Schultz said that Off the Wall is a better album than Thriller. And Vlad's like, whoa, how do you qualify that? How do you quantify that? I don't know what the word is. Anyway. And Schultz said, look, Thriller had all these singles, like Get Rich or Die Trying, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at an album concept, Off the Wall is better. They flow better together as opposed to just 10 singles. Now, granted, Thriller has probably the best album in terms of sales of all time. But if you're talking album concepts,
I mean, and that also was like during, we were fucking young kids, but that album was like, that was amazing. Hey, that was the album. That wasn't like, you can't say shit about it. Now, Thriller,
Beat It, Billie Jean,
great single too to the album. Off the Wall, great single to the album too. That song is dope, and I'd argue that I like that Off the Wall single better than I do like Thriller, even though Thriller's a dope ass album, and Quincy Jones' beats like don't, and the video is sick. You can't fuck with the video.
Oh god,
it's way better than Off the Wall video. Off the Wall videos is like dancing on two like lit up sidewalks. That video sucks, but it's also look at the times. It's all
there's only so much you can do.
Instead of special effects on Wizard of Oz sucks. Right. You're like, hey man, give them a break, dude. They're doing what they were dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
No, but that's interesting, dude. Very interesting, man. No, but I like both those albums, and like you had said, the continuity involved. And I think you might be up, my friend, with regards to the next album in terms of Overrated. I have a couple on here that for sure I was definitely anticipating them. I mean, I recall, dude, when they came out. Like I remember these albums coming out. You know what I mean? And that's one of the qualifiers, I think, because I had high expectations for Wu-Tang Forever, which that's why that one kind of fell short for me. And when people tried to tell me it was dope, I was like, but what about this stuff that was way doper? Like this stuff that you guys weren't even knowing about, and this, everyone kind of carried on, hitched on the wagon a little late, and then now they're trying to sell me high on this shit. And I'm like, nah, man, the other stuff is way doper. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where the overrated albums, for me at least, kind of fall into that category.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's on you. What you got?
Oh, you just did. That's right. You
kind of segued into Get Rich or Die Trying.
That's funny. Speaking of dying, this guy's dead. It sounds so bad.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, not sorry. I just got so lightheaded just now from laughing so hard.
He's like, this guy's dead.
And oh my god, I just read this. Okay, I'm reading it right now, Wikipedia. No.
Oh no.
2 years later, after this album was released, Tupac died.
2 years later.
So this album came out on September 13th, 1994. Tupac died September 13th, 1996. He was shot on the 7th, the 6th, and then died on the 13th.
This ain't Big L, is it?
No. I love Big L, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's fucked up. You throw him on the list. I don't know why it's fucked up, like I knew him or something. He's fucked up, man. He's done.
It's Biggie.
Okay.
Biggie's Ready to Die.
Wait. Ready to Die, dude? That's the first album.
Yeah.
Why are you saying that album?
I couldn't get into it at all.
Okay.
I know we got, look, I know he didn't have any features other than Method Man on the What, right?
Yeah.
I know Juicy was cool. Me and My Bitch, I didn't like that one. I liked the remix, the live version on the show soundtrack.
Yeah.
Give Me the Loot. I couldn't get into it. Let me see, what else did I like? I like Warning. Warning's a cool song. Machine Gun Funk, couldn't get into it. Ready to Die.
Who shot you on that album?
No, that was okay.
That was a single, right?
Yes, I just talked to my cousin last week.
That track is dope.
And this is why
that beat is just like hot. That beat was dope as shit, man.
But I think that single being released after this album, which was also consequently after Tupac got shot, is probably why this album and this time and him as an artist might be more epic for people or more classic than if that song never came out or Tupac never got shot or they never had beef, right? And Hit 'Em Up never came out. And it's almost like you want to defend the Fat Kid, but it's like, well, the Fat Kid was taking shots.
Yeah, he was taking some mad shots.
So, and if you listen to Tupac's take on the whole thing, granted, I don't know about all that, but as far as, the validity of everything, it kind of makes you think.
Like, you beg a bitch to sleep at your house or some shit. God damn.
I mean, considering they were homeboys.
Maybe let your fat ass sleep on the couch or whatever the fuck he said. That's some fucked up shit, man. But hey, man, they're going after it, dude. Yeah, what are they going to do?
By the way, we need to do a top 5 diss songs of all time.
Yeah, that'd be good, man. I like
top 5 disses and top 5 missed disses. Like, you tried and you just didn't hit the mark. like Tim Dog's fuck.
Well,
Compton.
I could think of Everlast when he tried to come after like DJ Quick. I was like, huh?
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he tried to like retaliate, but it was like lame as fuck. I think he had like one line. It sucked. I was like, what? That's all you got, man?
Oh.
Quick made a whole goddamn song against you, dude.
Yeah, because
Quick torched you, dude.
Quick torched him on Can't Fuck With a Nigga on
No shit. I remember that shit. Yeah.
Stupid white boy.
Yeah,
How the fuck you fake it? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so.
It's like you fake Irish faggot.
You got a big booty,
Yeah,
and my last, let me tag it.
Yeah. You got a fake Irish faggot. He's like, yeah. I was like,
we're from OC,
Quick
but
also had a dope against MC8, man.
Oh yeah. They went at each other.
Exactly. But MC8 couldn't fuck with him, though.
Nah. On Death Wish 4, Tap That Ass. That was on the MC8's Death Threats album in '96. That was the best shot MC8 had at dissing Quick.
Yeah.
But Quick got him on dollars and cents forever and a day. You know, especially with the live performance with the Death Row at the Source Awards '95. This is where my wife or my fiance MC8. And he was in the
business.
He was in the audience.
Yeah. Oh, was he?
And you can't do nothing.
Yeah, he's sitting there like
there's nothing you can do but just sit there and mean mug. Like, all
what
right.
the fuck are you gonna do? Yeah.
Nothing.
Just sit there like just getting roasted. Put his sunglasses on and turn to ash.
Looking like Ann Coulter at
Sitting there like
the Rob Lowe roast.
sitting there, just like lightning flashing just in a skeleton. Like, goes back to a human form. Jesus.
But yeah, this album, Ready to Die, I couldn't get into it. Juicy's obviously dope. No one can fuck with Juicy. Big Papa the original, not my thing. One More Chance the original, not my thing. I'm sorry, Big Papa the original, sorry. That was the original. That was fine. But One More Chance, the remix was much better. Suicidal Thoughts, that was kind of a weird way to end an album. You know what I mean? Like, dog, why you want to kill yourself?
Right.
But yeah, like some of these songs I couldn't get into. Like I said, Me and My Bitch, the live version for the show soundtrack was so much better with the...
the live version,
the Roger is Out Computer Love beat in the background, you know? Which is it's funny because that song... You look so good, I'll suck on your daddy's dick. That's such a weird line.
Oh, hell yeah. No,
dude,
it was super
what did you say? You know what I mean?
Hearing that line, I'm like, huh?
That's not a line I could ever repeat while rapping. You look so good, I'll suck on your daddy's dick.
Yeah, you were going to sing that song to a chick, too. Fuck no. Get the fuck out of here with that.
All right, Faith Evans. This is what you got. Matter of fact, have you seen her in the Luke Cage TV show?
Nah. Dude.
Yeah, she's on like episode 2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah, she's singing.
I got some serious catching up to do on TV.
Yeah, you
man.
do.
TV, I got some serious catching up to do.
Everything. Thank you, man. Pirate Bay. I appreciate y'all. Kick-ass Torrance. Hope y'all get back on soon.
Kick-ass
But yeah, so, I tried to like this album. I tried to get through it,
You weren't feeling it. But that's back. I mean,
tried.
Honestly, if I'm really I can kind of, again, this could be true or not true. This is back when, KJ, you were strictly a West Coast dude. You weren't.
Yes.
You trying to wear.
That's true.
You were trying to hear any kind of East Coast shit.
Except for Woo.
Woo. Okay, Woo, but Woo was like the one, except for.
Everyone had to like them.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. That's back when people were like, oh man, you rap East Coast. I'm like, I rap East Coast, huh?
Because you're lyrical and not talking about shooting people.
Exactly. I'm like,
what about Coogee rap?
Because I'll just fuck you up and I'll beat the That's like the backyard freestyles were.
Yeah.
And then you say some shit that's like not that, and then it's like, oh, you East Coast dog. You East Coast dog. Yeah, you East Coast. I'm like, what do you mean East Coast? And then you always bring up like the people that weren't like the stereotypical West Coast. You're like, man, there's Soul Mischief, Farside, Telephone Homo Sapien. You always have those go-to people. AC Alone. These people aren't,
intelligent cats.
They aren't just saying the same old shit. Just because you listen to what's it called? Having a Prodigy, not the Having a Prodigy, the other Having a Prodigy.
FCC.
Yeah, exactly. South Central Cartel.
Kicking Game.
Yeah, right.
Oh God. Sometimes I just need to redo my whole MP3 list inside my car and just play some old West Coast shit. But yeah, you're right. I was very, very much into West Coast music.
Yeah, but that time frame I think was an interesting one.
But it's been 22 years, and I don't know if I've tried again.
It's been 22 years, bro. You think about it now.
But I will say this: 3 years later,
it's been 4-2 years.
Is that how long that
Actually, no, it's been 1 2 years.
Okay.
It's been 1 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because 4
Yeah, 4 is like 80. Yeah,
okay.
I guess so. Man.
But so I was gonna mention Life After Death because I would say the two together. It makes him, in my opinion, granted, he tells a very good story. Opening song, Life After Death, what was the song after the intro? It was Somebody's Got to Die, right? That's a dope song. He's a very good storyteller, about the dude named Jason turns around, the dude's holding his baby. Yeah. Like my cousin was playing that song for me. We were going to Morehouse back in '96. We were old as hell. And he was playing that song and he kind of skipped it. And I was like, dude, it was like right after the doorbell rang and he was going to check and see who it was or whatever. And my cousin skipped the song. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. I want to know what I literally said. Turn that back on because I want to know what's going to happen.
Point, dude, you're probably stoned as shit and you're just kind of...
No, I was totally sober. I haven't smoked weed since 1996 August. No, June. I remember who I was with and what we were doing anyway. But anyway, he's a great storyteller like Slug is. Slug tells a great story from Atmosphere.
Absolutely, dude.
Other than that, like those two albums, really, I could just kind of lump the two together because I think overall he becomes overrated. I'm sure he's good at what he did, but I guess maybe for beat wise and I couldn't really get into it. I've never really.
No, I hear you, dude. And you know what? I'll say this, man, because on my list is actually Life After Death, dude.
Wow,
that's definitely on my list, man.
Nice segue. We're working this.
Yeah, because Ready to Die, dude. That album, I dug that album. I remember dubbing that from a CD I borrowed from a friend that dubbed it on tape, and one of those old TDK tapes and shit, and like borrowing my brother's little fucking CD player that he got for his birthday that kind of dubbed it, doing all that shit and trying to place it right to where you can fit all the songs in there, dude. So I definitely did that, and I had that album, Ready to Die.
Yeah,
Life After Death. Literally, I remember driving around and just being like, this kind of it's. That whole, I remember hearing that stupid song, Bone and Biggie, too many fucking times. I hated that song. That song sucked to me. It just sounded like...
Well, Busy had an amazing version, Crazy.
Right, I'm not saying...
But Biggie, no, I didn't like it.
Ain't nobody... It just sounded like, this sucks, dude. And you know what, dude? And I think it got overblown also and it was overrated because of his death. His untimely death. Mm-hmm. That kind of led to everyone kind of like embracing it and being like, oh, dude, this guy's great. Now... Notorious Big is nothing like Tupac in terms of like overall iconic image. No one's like. I mean, there's people that have Notorious Big on their shirt, and stuff like that. But he's not like the Tupac. Tupac supersedes him in that regard.
He represented so much more than just music.
Exactly. So Tupac, supersedes him in that regard. He was like the stronger of the two in terms of overall just powerful personality, however you want to say it, like presence, overall presence, where people like. Damn, gravitate toward this dude. Like, they gravitated towards him. Like, hey, you're a leader. You're like, you could be a spokesperson for a lot more things. You have plenty more to offer than just music. Biggie, I think, his death, the way it worked, and again, an untimely death, I think that's what led to this album being kind of like received a little bit more than others. Again, I think it's one of those instances, like much like Wu-Tang was, where he already had his kind of success. His run was going. He was already moving. This happened to be the second album.
Yeah.
People kind of hitched on the wagon a little later. They had this album. They're like, I got, Biggie's new album. And I remember wanting to buy it, and then I remember listening to it after, friends of mine that had, whatever, that had the money at the time when it came out, they bought it and shipped first. Mm-hmm. I listened to it, and I was like, that's cool. I'm not buying this shit.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it.
I like this album.
I listened to it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I remember driving around in people, people's cars and shit. They had this album. They'd be playing on fucking repeat, and I was just like, "This shit sucks, man." Let's listen to the first album.
Yeah,
first album is what I like. This one, not so much.
Do you think it was more about beats on the second than the first?
It could have been.
That's what worked for me. That's why I played it more.
It could have been, dude. I really don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was one of those things of like where my. Because I really don't know, man. But I listened to the shit out of this album, and it wasn't because I owned it. It was because it was around, and people were singing its high praise, and I'd be in people's cars, like, driving around, kids, and, just like the backseat smoking weed in someone's car. You're like, man, this fucking song sucks. Turn it to this song. Put this CD on, man. Put the CD on. Maybe that's more what it is, but I think it just kind of worked well with his death, and kind of like that's why I got overblown. Honestly, I think if he would still be alive, he probably would have made I'm sure he would have made some cool ass shit. You would hope so, right? I would think so. But this is what it didn't do it for me, man.
Yeah, I hear that.
I didn't feel that one, and I thought it was a little overrated.
I feel you on that one. I did and like so that album.
Maybe he was, maybe he should have been the most fucking one of the overrated rappers. Shit, for all I know. If we're both fucking throwing his two albums that exist into the damn circulation, if you think so, I mean, literally, dude has his body of work is pretty limited. considering he hadn't been
Very.
around. Yeah, he hadn't been around for that long. His body was not limited. He was big. That's such a bad joke. His body was enormous. But it worked not so much.
Game said on the Doctor's Advocate album, which was Game's second album, which came out in 06, he said one more platinum album's gonna classify with Biggie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, maybe that was on the documentary. Either way, he realized even himself, he's like, I only need 2 platinum albums to classify with Biggie Smalls in terms of how much I sold and when I sold it, and all that. But
you would think,
right.
I think you can kind of I think you would agree with this too. But if Game were to die tomorrow,
he's not going to be rated.
Fuck no. Fuck no. I don't know if there's too much material.
West Coast will.
But there's too much stuff going on now that would, and back then, dude, there's limited media sources. It wasn't like you had a whole bunch of different sources of information. It wasn't like you had numerous blogs and podcasts and different sources for information. You had pretty much MTV, boom, showing you what's good, and the radio, here's what's good. I mean, the radio, dude, almost perpetuated that whole beef between Tupac and Biggie, dude.
Yeah.
They were like the ones, oh shit, Tupac got some new shit. Boom, here we're the voice of the community. Here we go. We're going to show everyone what's going on.
Yeah.
We're spreading the information like some fucking old school archaic way of doing it. But that way it worked. And so everyone was like, damn, you hear that new shit? That new diss song that Tupac did against Biggie?
Get 'em up.
And then on the same side, on what's it called? That Hot 97, on that side, they released their shit going against Tupac.
Yeah.
Boom. Here's what you got. Oh, damn. And I remember thinking, like, fuck, dude, I wish my cousins would record this, the Stretch and Bobbito show over there.
Yeah.
The Stretch and Bobbito show and, mail me back tapes. And I remember my buddy Mark, his cousins from up in the Bay were recording that whole Hyro Hobo Junction battle back in the day on the Wake Up Show. And I happened to miss that one. It was like in 94. It just wasn't didn't have that shit. And I remember him, his cousin's I got this. My cousin's up in, wherever they're from, Vallejo or, somewhere up in the Bay. They had this shit, boom, and let me borrow that tape. And this tape right here. Damn, I got this tape. Cool. This is the Hyro Hobo battle. Boom. Dumping it on, recording it and getting it back. Here, dude, I got the tape back. Because I knew that tape was it had a chain, a chain of ownership that went down, and it's you can't lose this shit because this is all we got. I don't know how the fuck else we're gonna ever get another copy of this.
Yeah.
Where now information's readily available. It's
absolutely. Even the songs that, you remember the old Wake Up Show anthem with Lauryn Hill and everybody? That's on YouTube now.
I listened to that shit 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It looks funny, yeah.
I love that.
Turn it up. It's a corrupt novelist. Nas involved in this.
Nas killed it. Well, I hear Nas now, and I'm just not happy. I hear Nas now, and I'm just not
with Melon makes her eyes turn yellow. She was lying. Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's all I
beats
honorable mention.
And then got Prince Poe on there, 92.3 the beat. And then you also have, what's his name? Pharoah Monch on there. That shit was tight.
Pharoah Monch is still amazing.
I think Razkaz is on there.
Yeah, matter of fact, speaking of Razkaz, Raz mentioned when Saphir took out Casual on Chino et Sal's album, and that's that Hobo Junction. Yes.
Remember that, yeah.
That's called Riot.
I'll take you out like Saphir took out Casual.
Yeah.
I think Chino might have said that, though. Did he say that? I think Chino might have said that.
No, I think Raz said it because right after that was Chino.
Okay.
He said, Raz, pardon me, Mom.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I had to think about that.
I'll take you out like Saphir took out Casual. It's damn, with the finality.
Isn't that the one where you said Saphir was like, yeah, that's fat.
Yeah, you fat. You fat in body weight. He's like, you don't pay 300 for 380, stupid that. You not fat. You belong in, join our crew. We'll call you Fat Cock. You can bring on some Jaws mascot. What is it? You don't know.
Saphir was dope. He's had a lot of health problems.
Has he really?
Last few years. I don't know how he's doing now, but last I heard, it was confined to a wheelchair. He was having back problems.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wonder how the fuck that happened.
Yeah, I thought he was dead from Menace to Society. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, he got stomped out. Exactly.
He did. He got killed.
Yeah, no, it's just
Harold.
From Long Beach. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Jack and hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, this next album I got here was released November 12th, 2004. Sold 11 million copies worldwide 9 months after its release. 11 million copies. And the reason it sold 11 million copies is because this person is loved by so many people inside of hip-hop because he's that good, and outside of hip-hop because they look like him.
Which year was this?
2004.
Okay.
And
outside of hip-hop because they look like him. I think you did. That's a giveaway right there, right?
Yeah, it should be. And
I think I know. Does his name rhyme with Eminem?
I love M. I love Eminem. I love his music from, Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP. Eminem show still was dope, and he was getting like political mosh and stuff like that. But then you got Encore, and it's just like, where the fuck did this come from? There's cool songs on here, ones that I kind of laugh at a little bit, like they're funny. That album, like My First Single and Puke, where he's talking about his ex-wife, and Rain Man and Big Weenie. Yeah, Just Lose It. Then there's other ones like they just.
That's that one song like rah, 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 rah.
Which one?
Just Lose It.
Oh, the Pee Wee Herman shit. Yeah, acts like that. There's a lot of silly. Emma's a silly person, but it was just like such a mix of
this
silly.
This might have been like probably
serious.
at the height of maybe his drug usage. Who the fuck?
Yes, because he did say on Recovery, which was probably the best album since Marshall Mathers.
You know what? And people were hating on that album, but I thought that
on
album
Recovery.
Was kinda,
Really?
Yeah.
Probably because it wasn't so funny anymore, huh?
Maybe we were getting y'all too serious, man.
Yeah, seriously. Like that album. That album.
I thought that album was good, man. Like I don't know, dude. Like I was never the biggest Eminem fan at all.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I never was. Despite him, cause I looking like me,
bleach blonde mother.
Right. But no, dude. Like I never was. But no, that album I remember. It kind of just look at. I don't know, who the fuck knows? Everyone really kisses ass. Let's face it.
Yeah.
They really sell him high as fuck. He's good. Obviously, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
It's just.
Have you heard his new shit called Campaign Speech?
No.
Go to YouTube, type in Campaign Speech.
Campaign Speech.
It's new Eminem that I don't know if you heard the shady freestyles on YouTube that he did like
recently.
Yeah,
I don't think I have.
I think they're a year or two old. But anyway, like
wait, no, dude, I did hear that one. I heard that one. It's like long as fuck.
Minutes,
yeah, yes. Like Royce the 5'9" just standing behind him, like just like going like that.
Yeah. That's the new, and it's the same kind of style that M was doing then. He's doing in this new song, Campaign Speech, making references to things that are happening now, so it's not
tight,
old stuff written.
Right on. No, he's a workhorse, man. That guy's he's OCD like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
That dude, he's going to be either OCD and addictive personality on either drugs or pills or whatever the fuck he's doing, or clearly the guy hasn't lost any interest in writing raps.
Right.
And that's what the guy does best, I'm sure. Who knows what else he does well, but I can tell you he does that good.
Yeah.
And he hasn't lost his interest. He has the level of interest and intensity of interest like we had when we were, whatever, early 20s, when we were like just getting after it. Getting after it, taking our notebook with us everywhere, writing lyrics and being like,
in class,
I gotta get a page a day, and always kind of thinking of something like, damn, that's... writing something down. Like you come up with some one-liner, and you're always kind of jotting shit down. Always come thinking of something, and you're thinking of that. Like you had that frame of thought always. Yeah. That dude has not lost that. That dude is continuously being that guy. So, on an artistic standpoint, you can't, or maybe a rhyme standpoint, you can't deny the guy. The guy's done well. On music standpoint, like it wasn't always my cup of tea in terms of the music. Like I wasn't really feeling the beat sometimes, or like maybe the voice so much or whatever, dude. Like I kind of like the more like the boom bap shit back in the day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who knows, man?
I gotcha.
But no, I hear you, dude. Like I think some of his albums, like I guess you can certainly say we're overrated, dude.
Yeah, and not even only this album Encore, but also the one right after when he was getting rid of his drug issues, which was Relapse. And it had, now I gotta say, the opening to Relapse was a song called 3 a.m. in the morning, or 3 a.m., whatever it was called. And the way he rhymes on that song is still amazing. But then there's just like all these other, it's kind of like an encore part too. My Mom and Bagpipes from Baghdad and We Made You, like all these other like silly songs. It Must Be the Ganja, like just kind of silly. And it just, I don't know. I think with how the Marshall Mathers LP was and Encore was, it seemed a lot more serious, maybe just from my take, as opposed to the overly serious or overly silly from Encore and Relapse. And yeah, you're right. This was like the height of his drug thing was like with Encore, and then he was flushing them out. He said on Recovery, so flushing them out in Relapse, and so you can kind of still hear that Courage, the not Courage the Cowardly Dog, what Triumph, the political insult dog or whatever. Like you kind of hear that stuff still going on. You're like, this isn't really working for me. You know,
his voice kind of changed. Didn't it kind of change? Like he originally was like, I don't know,
a little more high pitched.
Yeah, and more like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, the one who wants, I want to know. He's kind of that guy, and then he became like, that kind of shit. I don't know when that fucking happened. And
it probably happened around the same time Circles. Because Circles changed this shit too.
Hey, man.
Shout out to Circles. We love you, dog. We noticed your voice changed. That's all.
For sure, though, like there was definitely a noticeable difference there.
Yeah.
But who the fuck knows? I mean, if he can do it, everyone else can too.
I think when we get older, because if you listen to my stuff from now, let's see, we're talking Eminem 97 to Eminem 2009.
I lay your
shit's too whack for me to even play in my take that, right? But if you listen to my stuff from 2009, 2010, my voice is different. My delivery slowed down. I was a lot more clear. I was so well spoken. And so I think it just comes with time, and you evolve and you change.
I think so. I think you're right there. I think you're right. That's people have to be able to grow, right? You can't be like, no, you have to be the same.
Right, and I think that people do expect
better,
that
grow
at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, your turn.
Okay, man. Well, on the tail of Eminem here, I'll go ahead and say that the Chronic 2001.
Wow.
That's an overrated album, in my opinion, my friend.
I'm about to throw shit right now.
No, man.
Ridiculous.
Exactly. And here's why. And the reason I thought so is because Dr. Dre's Chronic album was near and dear to my heart.
Amen.
Definitely a soundtrack to my childhood in a lot of ways, and it definitely was in the background of a lot of stuff. Piqued my interest in whatever. Listen to NWA, listen to Ice Cube, Eazy-E, all them. That was a big thing. Mm-hmm. Now Dre, of course, was able during that time frame between 1993 and 2001, right? When he released Chronic 2001.
Yeah, well,
Chronic 2001 came out in 2000, right?
No, it came out in 99.
God damn, okay. So we got 6 years there.
Yeah.
So during this time, I remember him releasing like a lot of singles, dude, like Keep the Heads Ringing. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of shit on
Murder
soundtracks.
Was the Case.
Murder Was the Case, yeah. But so he was involved also in Snoop's project in 94. Mm-hmm. Also was involved probably to a certain degree, I would imagine, in Dog Pound shit.
Yeah.
In terms of production. He had Warren G came out, with Regulating. Not to say he was so involved with that, but he also ushered in a lot of people during this time. Mm-hmm. And
building his brand. I mean, eventually, I think it's what he was doing.
He was building his brand. And Tupac. This is the height of Tupac.
Oh, yeah.
During this whole time in Death Row and really having that whole thing. And so there's a lot of stuff going on between the Chronic 93 and him releasing the Chronic 2000 or whatever, 2001, whatever the fuck it's called, in 99. Right. So I think he was more focused on other things. Now, not to say the Chronic 2000 sucked. I just didn't think it lived up to the original Chronic.
Right.
And so it was kind of a different generational thing, and it could also be due to the fact that, like, from 93 to 99, I grew quite a bit in terms of myself and my own music, what I was interested in. I was definitely like on some Wu-Tang shit, and like definitely on some underground shit.
Yeah.
And I started getting to the open mics and doing all that stuff. So it was a long hiatus for me. That 6 years was a formidable years for me. Like, I did a lot of growing in those 6 years. And so when Dre, he had his hands in a lot of different pots, and all of a sudden he released an album like, I'm rapping now again. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're rapping now again. Cool. Now you're rapping like Eminem is right here. You got Eminem, you're introducing this guy, you're ushering him in. And he did a lot of the dude helped a lot of people out. The guy got plenty of people in. It's just this album 6 years later was more towards my little brother. My little brother thought this album was a classic. I didn't think the album was a classic. I was like, nah, dude. Like,
because he didn't hear the old stuff.
No, yeah,
I got you.
The Chronic was a classic in my opinion. This one, not so much. I was like almost like I was out of that phase.
Right.
Not saying I outgrew it. It didn't have the same feel.
Connection.
Yeah, the same.
I think what's missing too is maybe nostalgia.
Sure,
like we didn't have a bunch of memories like we did with
and that's
Chronic.
what I'm saying. Like, and so when people were trying to tell me that are like younger than me and tell me that this is a classic album, they have nostalgia connected to this album, whereas I don't.
Right.
That's kind of removed. And I can also understand, dude. I mean, it was a long layoff. That is little. 6 years is not the longest layoff. Yeah. I mean, there's been longer layoffs for sure.
Actually, it was 7. It was 92 was the Chronic.
Okay,
99 was Okay.
I keep on associating 93 for some reason, but yeah, you're right. So 7 years. And then he had even longer layoff than the most recent one. But let's not even talk about that one. But this one for sure, though, had a long enough layoff where I was like, I'm no longer interested in what he's doing. Even though he's doing a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was definitely doing a lot of shit. He was involved in a lot of projects. He was still, like I said, ushering people in. He was involved in Tupac shit. He was involved in the whole Death Row thing and getting that whole I guess, mystique around Death Row at that time. You know, Death Row was at the height of its success during that time.
Yeah.
Until Tupac passed away, and things kind of started dissolving from there. You know, Snoop went over to Master P's label and shit. Kind of, I think at some point it was kind of like that was kind of like the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I hated that.
And then Dre was like, "Hey, dude, I don't really know how to do shit. I can just kind of kick it and make it a solo song here and there." Or shit, actually, what he did was get Eminem involved and kind of like, "Hey, I'm gonna get myself away from." You know, start Aftermath, I guess, right? Instead of like, you know, being involved with, you know, what's it called? And so so that album, I guess, it just thought it was overrated in that regard, dude. It wasn't as good as the other stuff.
Yeah,
you know? Not that it sucked, it just was, you know, wasn't as good.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's actually an album I did like a lot because it was like, oh, thank God, finally some more Dre.
Sure.
And then I started hearing, I remember Death Row was still around at the time, and they had, who did they have on there? I think they had Corrupt, and they had like Daz, I think was still there, and they had a song by a dude, CJ Mack. I don't know if you heard of CJ Mack, but he was kind of doing some Death Row stuff for a while, and he had a song called I Ain't Fucking With You. And in that song, in his chorus, he said, if Jay-Z wrote your rhymes, I ain't fucking with you. Talking about Dre, because Jay-Z wrote Still Dre.
Oh, dude.
So when you look at the liner notes, it says written by. I mean, we all know Dr. Dre was, you know, everyone wrote his shit. I said it in the last show.
Yeah, sure.
Jay-Z wrote that rhyme for Dr. Dre.
Did he really?
Still Dre Day.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the way it flows, that's Jay-Z.
Okay.
That's totally Jay-Z. Yeah, and Sean Carter's name was right there. That's Doc Carter. You know, and it's like, oh.
There's no shame in his game, dude. I mean, like, he's like, fuck, dude, like, whatever. He had to do what he had to do, and he was able to build a huge brand upon it, you know. I mean, enormous.
I don't know if you ever heard any other tracks that, like, I think Crooked Eye, Ludacris, T.I., some other people, I think M too. There's reference tracks that they were doing for Dre for the Chronic, or Detox or whatever. Like, they, you know, the Dr. Dre beats in the background, and they're rapping over it as Dr. Dre. Telling their story, yeah. So I obviously people write for Dre and they use
I mean, but that, you know, and again, that's kind of like something that you have to peel back a couple layers of the onion in order to like really figure out. You know, it's just a normal listener like, yeah, Dre is fucking dope. This album, dude, he's rapping sick. You're like, yeah, man, there's probably more to it though.
Yeah,
you know, like you can tell like when Ice Cube wrote his raps, Snoop wrote his raps, Eminem wrote his raps,
Kendrick wrote his raps.
Yeah, you can tell like how he rhymes differently.
Every time.
Yeah, and he was, you know, he's just like, fuck, dude, you know, I'm an actor. You give me lines, I can go ahead and act the way, you know, this director wants me to act.
Pharaoh and Chino wrote for people. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me because those guys are amazing.
Yeah, dude. Pharaoh
will never tell. I think Pharaoh actually wrote for.
And there's a lot of stuff that they keep really under wraps too. Like
they can't say.
Yeah, they can't say shit. Because I can't remember who it was, but recently, dude, I heard him on the radio, and they're like, "Hey, have you written for anybody kind of famous?" And they're like, "Yeah, you know, I have, but." I can't say anything right now. Maybe in a few years I could say something, but for right now, I just got to keep it on the low.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, shit, dude. There's a lot of people that get ghostwriters, dude.
Yeah.
And that in its own way, unlike any other kind of genre, it's a fucking no for hip hop.
Oh yeah, you have to keep it real.
Because hip hop, hip hop was always about braggadocious, kind of like. I'm this, I'm better than you, you ain't, whatever. You know, kind of, and that's how it initially started, right? That's how it began. Now it became way bigger than that.
Yeah.
But initially, that's kind of the way it was. So the old school sensibilities wouldn't allow you to go ahead and take someone else's stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you can be right. I can be right with you and be like, hey man, what do you think about this? You're like, that's dope. And what if you put, what do you like? That's not like that's not
right.
anything.
Nothing wrong with
You're just like partnering up. You know,
I've done it all the time.
Writing raps. Exactly. You're like, dude, that's tight. Okay, yeah, I'm take that word out. Maybe do this. Okay, that's different than someone, here you go, check this out, and then telling you how to rap to it, like, well, how you want to do it is this, ba 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 ba, you know, and like they're like, okay, like this, no, like this, ba 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 ba, and then guiding them, giving them a perfect roadmap in order to be that.
Yeah.
Now, in other genres of music, that's completely acceptable.
Totally okay.
Where in hip hop, that shit's like, like, yo, we got to be quiet about this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I can't have you say a word.
You don't want to lose your street cred. That's a huge thing.
Because if this shit came public knowledge, then, you know.
Yeah, I remember
might not be good.
Quick claiming that, or was it Quick claiming that MC8 had his raps written? No, MC8 claimed that Quick had his raps written by somebody else on some song. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it was on Tap That Ass.
Oh, really?
96, yeah. So, I don't know that it was ever true, but...
Yeah, either
he's
way,
like, you and that fake motherfucker who wrote your rap. My nigga boot back and slap with a trade pot strap. I love MCA so much. If I could ever meet him, I'm going to give him a hug. No homo. But speaking of rappers who are very braggadocious, this is my final... And it's not just one album from this person... But every album came out from this person on this list, on this final little compilation here, after they died. So earlier you heard me mention that 2 years after Ready to Die came out, Tupac died. Well, after Tupac died, they still released albums in his name, using old rhymes that he had, things that had been unreleased and things like that. And the first time they did it was it was Machiavelli. That doesn't count because that was already coming out. So we can't really count that, in my opinion. They did have Are You Still Down, Remember Me, which is still one of my favorite albums of all time, so I'm not going to include that either because it was really good, even though it doesn't really flow together, but it kind of does in terms of just the sound. Just Carlin and Soul Shock, these two guys from, I think they're Dutch. They're the ones who produced that shit. And you're like, wait, these white dudes did, like, I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto? Yes. These white dudes that are Dutch did that song. But anyway, the albums that I did not like from Tupac, which sounds so bad to say.
What?
I know. I have a shrine. I used to have a
He's rolling
shrine.
his grave right now, dude.
Real talk. No homo. I used to have a shrine built to Tupac in my room when I lived with my mom. Which sounds like, oh, well, of course, you live with your mom. But yeah, I had a word processor, a Brother word processor that my dad bought for me in like 95, 96. And after having gone with an old girlfriend of mine, you remember the curly head one? I think she was so cute. She married now, got a couple kids. She got big. She got bigly. Nasty woman. Nah. That's why I'm voting for Trump.
Yeah, right.
But nah, yeah, we used to go to the Orange County Fair, and I'd get like these Tupac pictures and shit, and I'd take them home, and I'd have my little word processor and put all the Tupac pictures there, so like that would be my inspiration when I would write, so I could be like him.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, yeah, the albums Until the End of Time, which was a double album, Better Days, and Pac's Life were shit albums, in my opinion, and they were all posthumous.
And this is coming from a Tupac fan.
A huge Tupac fan, yes. I mean...
Yeah, huge Tupac fan.
As of 2014, this album, Until the End of Time, was 4 times platinum. And I don't know why, because it's not very good. Like, you hear Ballad of a Dead Soldier, you know, you don't get the original versions of the songs. They had new people doing beats for them, and you're just like... The beats don't really match. Like, Pac wouldn't rap on this. You know, I don't really hear his voice on this. Fuck Friends was cool.
They were trying to just capitalize, I think, on what was going on, man.
Yeah.
They probably just had a whole bunch of snippets of, like, him, you know, whatever, but him rapping over a beat that probably was unfinished. And
yeah, right here I'm looking at Happy Home, the remix by Jim Ginnam and Darren Vegas and Crooked Eye, but the original was produced by Johnny J. I mean, it literally says remix by... But then the original, who did that one? You know, and it just it was such a disappointment because I had to have it, obviously.
Right. Well, you're huge.
But it was just like this wasn't good enough. You know.
Wait, bro, this kind of sucked. Dude.
Yeah, Running on E was cool because I think the actual here's why the producer was Tupac. The same beat that I have from the original is the same one that's on this album. But I go to Better Days and I look at songs like. The one he had with Anthony Hamilton, who he never actually met, and it was called Thug's Mansion. Great song, but it was a remix, you know? So once again, it's not the original, and not the Nas acoustic version, because Nas never would have worked with Tupac when Tupac was alive, because Tupac would have killed him. Late Night was a dope song. Right. So many other ones, like Never Call You Bitch Again, like, that's a dope song. Like, some of these are cool songs, but just all together, you're just like... so disappointed. Like, it could have been so much better.
Not for you, man.
Oh, wait, and let me do the last one. The last freaking album from Tupac that was just like shit. It was Pac's Life. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that one?
Pac's Life?
Yeah.
How many albums did he release?
Before he died, or
posthumous, whatever. How would you say?
Oh, I wish I had internet here. I
like
can't
8?
Connect. But let me see. What if you want to count one on double albums as one album or two?
Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and say how many Tupac albums? How many? Because I remember there being a lot.
Well, let's see. If you count Machiavelli, You can count All You Still Don't Remember Me, Until the End of Time, Better Days, Pac's Life, and there was another one I just closed out. Oh, the Tupac and Outlaws one. So at least 6, maybe 7.
7 of his 11 platinum albums were released posthumously.
Oh, and Loyal to the Game.
Wow. So 7 albums after he passed away.
Imagine that.
That's fucking insane.
That's nuts.
Wow, dude. As recently as 2007, Shakur's estate banked $9 million more than Eminem or 50 Cent made last year. But that's so, you know,
it's crazy.
This is yeah, exactly. That's like this is written like 5 years ago, but nonetheless, man, that's still impressive as shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 7 of his 11 albums
came out after he died.
After he died. So he only had 4 albums when he was alive.
That's insane.
That is insane. It's craziness, dude.
And yeah, so that's why I just think the posthumous albums did not do him justice.
No, man, I think a lot of them were
cool.
I remember thinking to myself, dude, when those albums were coming out, because I did like Tupac, dude. I liked Tupac when he was alive, man.
Everyone should.
I remember, shit, dude. A lot of those songs, dude. A lot of those tracks, dude. And All Eyes on Me, man. Like, I don't know. all that stuff was cool. Then he passed away, and he kind of became more trendy than he ever was.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Everyone all of a sudden loved him.
Yeah,
I'm like, I've been on his dick since '91.
Yeah, right. Like he was good. He was
Where
good.
y'all
Like,
been?
we were always listening to his shit, dude. And then became super trendy. He was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck's going on here? And then he kept on releasing albums even though he's dead. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
This can't be good.
No,
because otherwise he would have probably released it if he was able to give the rights over. If he had final creative control and saying, hey, now this is coming out and this is not coming out, which I'm sure the guy was probably deeply involved in the whole process and making sure that no whack shit was ever released.
Don't just release
without
anything.
his, him saying, hey, give you the nod. So that kind of to me seemed like it was a little watered down.
That's smart because there's a lot of songs I've heard that were unreleased.
Yeah,
that probably should have stayed that way.
Yeah, but we all got plenty of stuff that we recorded over the years, dude. That kind of just didn't. It's not the cutting room floor, but it's just stuff that never really was pieced together. You know. Mm-hmm. And if you were the great revenue creating Tupac Shakur, he passed away at the height of his career. Really, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And at 25 or whatever. Like, you know how many opportunists are going to sit there and be like, oh shit, we got all this footage. Mm-hmm. We got to do something with this. You kind of already know what kind of product you're going to have. Yeah. It's going to be lackluster. It's going to be watered down. It's going to be a watered down version of what he would have done. Because likely he probably would have been sitting there. His ghost probably was in the studio saying, fuck that shit. Don't tell me you're releasing it. Like, he's on the conveyor line looking at getting shrink wrapped like, boxes like Patrick Swayze hitting subway cars. You know? Straight up, man. Trying to flick pennies up the thing.
That was Ghost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
I'm like,
Patrick Swayze.
I know, so it's a deep reference. I'm on the archives there. I'm on the archives, man.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. Sitting there behind his girl with a pot.
You ever seen a Family Guy episode where Peter Griffin came in and was a Ghostbuster? He was like, all right, you owe me $150.
That's fucking funny shit.
So
That's
funny.
great, dude. That's great, dude.
All right, give me your last one.
All right, so last one, man.
So you can go see your girl.
You might go ahead and say or deny or disagree with this.
Jay-Z.
No, I'm not going Jay-Z.
Okay.
A little closer to the heart, dude.
KJ's My Life, My Music.
No.
Now available on SoundCloud.
No, not that close. I'm going Ice Cube, Lethal Injection, man.
What? Okay, yeah.
Lethal Injection.
Not Predator.
Not Predator. No, not Predator.
That bit,
Predator, I love Predator. Loved America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
You're right. Death Certificate, those albums, all dope. I think Lethal Injection kind of was. It was kind of like towards the tail end of when he was kind of transitioning into being more of an actor than he was an MC.
Yeah,
or whatever. It's like it's past. It's like when he started getting some acting. I don't know. I don't really know when it was, but he definitely became more of a businessman than he was an MC.
You're right
at that point. Yeah. Where he wasn't the hungry artist that was writing lyrics and like kind of getting after it. I mean, Predator, dude, he came after it, dude, in '92. He was like, Good Day, all those tracks on there, man. That album was dope as fuck, dude. The Predator,
Lethal Injection, yeah, you're right. Ghetto Bird, Really though.
Yeah, really, there's a couple.
Pop Gun.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, exactly. So Lethal Injection. Yeah, you had like, How We Do It, which I like that song. I think that song was almost like kind of a carryover, honestly, dude. If I could really put a time on it, because that song I think almost had like an early release before that album came out. Because I remember that single being around before the album even got released. And I remember hearing that, and it was kind of in the same vein. But then everything kind of fell off. Like it was like Pop Gun, which is whatever. That was I remember that was being the summertime anthem and shit. But then like Ghetto Bird. But then from there it was kind of like it kind of just
trailed off.
Fell off, dude. It fell off, man.
They won't call me a nigga when I get to heaven.
Right. There's a lot of stuff. I mean,
Little Ass G. The remix was better. Matter of fact, you know what? I think you're right when it comes to Businessman, because that was his last full album because after that was the remixes album, 94. I can't remember the name of it. Bootlegs and B-Sides. 95, he didn't have an album. He did
Bootlegs and B-Sides. I remember that album. I like that because they had like the Check Yourself remix and shit.
Yeah.
Check Yourself was that was on the Predator, dude. That original one, and it wasn't.
Yeah, the remix was way better.
Yeah, the remix was way better.
That's the one that had the video for it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dude.
Yeah, no more DOS effects. No offense to them, but
right. But the remix was way doper, dude.
Yeah.
Him walking through the jail cell and all that shit, dude. That shit was tight. That shit was tight as fuck. Yeah, that shit.
But yeah, so he had Bootlegs and B-Sides, which was not an actual album. It was just tracks, and that's how you got your introduction or reintroduction even for Dub C.
Right.
And then 95 you had Mac 10, so boom, you're right there. And then also 95 you had Dub C's West Up, or whatever what was the name of the damn album? I don't remember the name of the album, but the song West Up was on
West
there.
Up, boom.
With Cube and Mac 10.
Yeah, because Ice Cube came on, I think third in that song, right? Where he's like, now I gotta show you how the West Coast rocks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't raise the blade, just
the clock, and I'm hitting you up. Yeah. And then after that was West Side Connection. So you still, it's been at this point 3-4 years, and you haven't had a full length Ice Cube album, and even the last full length one, which was Lethal Injection, was only like 10 songs long.
Yeah.
And one of those songs was 10 minutes long, because that was Bob Gun.
And that's kind of like, that's kind of like when, that's kind of when he was like, all right, I'm gonna hang it up. Like I'm gonna help out my friends, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yo, Dub C, Mac 10,
and it worked.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it worked.
Westside Connection put him over.
Yeah, but he was probably like, "Fuck, man, I'm gonna go. I got these acting gigs and shit. Like, yo, what about let's do the show?" He's like, all right, I can probably make it out there. I probably can't make that first show, but I'll make it out. Whatever, dude. I mean, he was spinning a lot of plates then, and he threw one out there for his boys, dude, for damn sure. Yeah. He helped them out, helped them get fucking commercial success, absolutely, by doing that track to begin with. Because really, I mean, Predator was that dope track, that dope album, and then from there it's kind of like. The B-side album, okay, cool. Yeah. That shit was probably made during Predator. Let's face it, that shit was probably made right then. I mean, he was probably recording that shit during that time in the process.
Cutting room floor.
Exactly. It was like, all right, we got 30 songs here. We got to narrow it down to 12. Let's go ahead and put these all together. So that was probably all recorded within that 91, 92 time frame.
Yeah.
That's when that was happening. It wasn't like it was all just taking place in 94. And then when he finally got reintroduced with that whole Lethal Injection shit, it was like, okay. And who knows? I mean, probably I would almost want to say that if I really had to put any money on it, dude, like we would do it might have been even put previously that kind of got carried over to that shit.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows, man? Because that kind of still sounded in the same vein of like those old samples, like those Isley samples and shit. Like I don't know, man. Like,
we forgot Friday and Caution.
Right.
Caution was on Lynch Mob Records.
And look at Friday. Friday was what? That
95.
95. Okay.
Not only did he have to do a soundtrack, but also
so 95. Well. So the song and the recording of that, like the actual filming, was probably done in 94. 94. The filming.
So you don't have
the actual soundtrack.
Yeah.
The soundtrack. So when are you doing this shit? When are you doing this shit?
Yeah.
So, like, interesting shit, but, like, I mean, I can understand, dude. You all of a sudden get that much success, dude, and you're like, hey, you got, like, a lot of offers coming your way, on the heels of Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
And that was probably done, like, 91, but he still was, like, that dude back then. He was still, he was that dude, like, focused, like, all right, I'm gonna try this acting thing out, but it probably wasn't, this is where I'm going with my career.
Right.
It wasn't like he pictured himself fucking that movie with RV, whatever the hell it's called, where he's like driving at Daddy Daycare, whatever the hell it's called. I don't know what it is. Yeah, but he's driving an RV around. Am I getting my shit confused? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I never saw it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, man. But like,
Ghost of Mars.
But or Barbershop 2 or some shit.
Next Friday.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking of himself being that dude just yet. He was still thinking of himself as
But yeah, he's barely.
I'm Doughboy with a Raiders hat on with a jerry curl, like.
Yeah.
Give my brother's ball back.
He's only had now after Lethal Injection, like his next actual album was like 97, 98. And then he had it was War and Peace Volume 1, and he had War and Peace Volume 2, which came out like 99. Then you had I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing. That was kind of the beginning of the end, dude.
Yeah,
that's kind of the beginning of the end. It's him transitioning from an actual MC hip hop artist into more of an entertainer / actor. You know what I mean? And which is, hey man, that's fine, dude. It's career trajectory, dude. If you really think about it, dude, that's him. If you really are putting a blueprint together, you're like, hey man, just like Dre did with like getting into the headphones and getting into other avenues and ways to make money. Not necessarily trying to maintain legitimacy inside of a fucking very
so much more I can
very competitive world of people that are like all about legitimacy, all about transparency, all about, hey, you do your own shit, you get hungry. Start, one of the easiest thing to do to maintain that fucking level of hunger, especially I think I heard. I can't remember who said.
Maybe that's why Suge had Pac killed.
I can't remember who said this, dude. But like, I think it was a boxer who developed a level of success. It might have even been Mike Tyson, but I could be wrong. But more or less, it might have been Sugar Ray Leonard. But he's saying it's tough to wake up at 4 a.m. to run every day when you're waking up in silk sheets. It's like, hey man, you can't. It's tough to keep that fucking edge, dude. When all of a sudden you have a lot of shit, you have some comforts around you.
That's why some comics can't last forever.
Yeah, man.
Because it's like, I'm not struggling anymore, so I can't laugh at my pain because I'm not as in pain as I was before.
Exactly. It's like Rocky Balboa and Rocky 3, dude. Fictional example, but that dude was hitting that level of success, knocking people out, and Clubber Lang came out of nowhere and was like, I'm going to fuck you up. Fucked his ass up, and Rocky was like, shit, dude, and I got to get back to basics. Can't be doing this song and dance no more.
Yeah.
I got to go fucking back to where it all began in order to get that hunger back, in order to get that eye of the tiger, son. Exactly. Straight up, dude.
Couple albums I left off my list, which were honorable mentions, which I should have mentioned before my Tupacs. But it was Eazy-E's 187 of them. It's on the EP. Came out in 93, and I was thinking earlier, once when I was taking a shower, I think about hip hop when I'm in the shower. Shut up. I thought, considering it was an EP, I thought all the songs should have been new, right? Yeah, you have your album, or, your album intro or maybe an outro or whatever, but it had like 8 songs, and one of them was a Boys in the Hood remix, and I thought, that song's 5 years old.
Yeah, remember that.
Why are you remixing a song that's 5 years old and throwing some random person on it like Gangsta Dracer, who's dope, but it's like, that doesn't need to be on there.
What about, well, it's a knockout definition of
That's a great song.
Yeah.
And, Give Me That Nut, that song's stupid. Yeah. Last Words, that song was kind of cool.
Give Me That Nut, never got me laid.
If it's on, motherfucker, do the song, G.
He's playing the song, Give Me That Nut, never got me laid.
No. Give me that.
I thought it would work when I was 14.
Girls love that song, and I don't know why.
They love it, but it's never like I played it and like the panties came off. Or maybe it did. I don't know. Somewhere. Who the fuck knows?
I'm still a virgin, so what do I know?
Some correlation.
Yeah. So that album was one I did not like, and I got to say, in my real opinion, Nas's "Hip Hop Is Dead," that album or whatever it was called, Stillmatic. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I tried to like it, and I was far more into East Coast at that point, much like the Chino and Pharoah Monch. But Nas's Stillmatic to me is overrated. I didn't like it. And I had another one too, but I closed it out already, and I think I deleted it. Wait, hold on, let me look. Oh, wait, nope, never mind, sorry. And also, I got Method Man's Tikal, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, dude.
I did not like that album.
Sucked.
Meth first chef, first meth, first red, first chef. I didn't, I granted, Bring the Pain. Everyone knows that song was amazing.
You're smoking.
Tikal. It was a very dark album, which was cool, kind of like very similar to Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers, but that album, like it didn't have the same pickup from where Method Man left off with METHOD, and then he goes solo, and you're like, never mind. Yeah. Those are my dishonorable mentions, I guess. Honorable, dishonorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You got any honorable mentions? Take your time. Cause
you know what, dude? I mean, that Method Man album, absolutely, dude. That album, okay. I would agree with 1,000%. In terms of other mentions, it's tough to say. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, in terms of overrated, that's the thing. The overrated stuff is difficult because. Dude, some of the Eminem stuff, I can't lie, dude. I think some of that stuff is overrated, but it's probably due to the fact that I wasn't listening to it. And that's kind of it's definitely a personal kind of bias. Not even bias, but it's like personal experience. Hey, man,
like my Biggie bias.
Yeah, well, yeah, your Biggie bias. And your Biggie bias. I mean, the guy had 2 albums, and they're both on one of our lists.
Yeah.
So it's not all bad. So wouldn't by default Biggie be an overrated rapper?
Yeah, I think so.
I would think so. You'd have to be
good, sure. Great, no. Big L's better. But no one ever mentions Big L.
Yeah,
oh my God, MVP is one of the best songs I've ever heard.
Big L, dude, Big L was dope, but in terms of putting an album together, like an actual album, it's not like any of his albums are ever going to go down.
Right.
Like, he had good songs, though.
Yeah.
Good raps. Yeah, he had fucking dope-ass, witty shit. Fuck yeah.
Big L's fun.
But nonetheless, man, I think we brought some good points, though.
I think so, too. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Went very smooth.
Sitting in the conference room.
Drinking some cola.
Drinking some cola.
Cola Yola.
I got you some more.
So, you got me one? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
You got it.
Crack one open.
You know it.
So thanks for joining me today, Ciph, on this KJ from OC podcast sideshow talking about overrated hip-hop albums. We'll see you next time when we talk about some more shit, whether it's overrated, underrated, rated right, whatever. We're going to raid the fridge and get something to eat.
Yeah.
Holla. I'm out.
Peace.